Hello kids, Shubhamangalam Athletic Scholar, myself Sudeep. I will be taking up class 8 physics for today, and we were on chapter 3, and the name of the chapter is synthetic fibers and plastics. By now we have learned about one of the most prominent synthetic fibers, that is nylon, and further we are going to study about rayon and acrylic and polyesters. So to wind up, what all did we study about nylon? We studied that it has much better qualities when compared to natural fibers. It is lustrous in nature, it is shiny, does not absorb water, does not need dry cleaning, and it is made up of polyamides, which are like adipic acid, hexamethylene, diamine, and monomers. All these will be subjected to a spinneret, and the spinneret, once it starts working, it is going to give you threads, fine threads of the nylon fiber, which will be made into fabric or yarn later on. So the spinneret looks like the bathroom shower, as I've told you. It has tiny holes. The holes can be varied as per size and characteristics depending upon how good the spinneret is. You can definitely have a spinneret with a bigger hole one. So nylons were also used. The nylon fiber was also used in making parachutes. It was also used in making ropes because it was much stronger than various other natural fibers. So we had an activity also that we were discussing. It was cotton, silk, wool, and nylon thread that was suspended from a certain end, and on the pan you were attaching some of the other weight. As you keep adding on weight, you see that cotton, wool, and silk, all the threads break, but the nylon thread does not break even after putting on lots of weight on the pan. So why does this happen, and what does this show you? This shows that nylon is pretty strong when compared to other fibers. So people use nylon for various other purposes, like mountaineers use it for rock climbing and camp climbing and all. So, and also nylon is also used in the toothbrush bristles. The fine hair that is present on the toothbrush is called as toothbrush bristles, and it is nothing but made up of nylon. Okay, that is why you use it for around 6 to 7 months. Basically, as per hygienic purposes, you should use it only for 4 or 5 months. But moving on, we have think and discuss to be discussed. So on page number 36, okay, the think and discuss portion. If we use cotton cloth and cotton ropes in preparing a parachute, what will happen? Now cotton is not as strong as nylon, so if you are going to use cotton parachutes, the blowing wind is going to make holes in those cotton parachutes, and the person might not be able to have a safe landing and instead might fall and meet with an accident. So secondly, traditionally fishermen used cotton nets. Now they are using nylon nets. I told you about this, that people have stopped using cotton nets and they're still using nylon nets because nylon nets are much more stronger. When they were using the cotton nets, the bigger fish used to bite away the nets, and they used to go back into the pond or go back into the water. So right now, when these currently fishermen use nylon nets, and the bigger fishes are not able to bite those nylon nets with their teeth, so it is easy to catch fish, even the bigger ones. So nylon saris are better than the cotton saris. It is better to use only nylon saris. Do you agree with this, and why? They are good, of course. They are cheaply available. They are of good colors, good dyed colors. They don't fade out color very soon, or they don't fade out color at all. They don't need too much of ironing like cotton clothes and all. Like cotton saris need too much of ironing as well as maintenance. But if we talk about the comfort level of the skin, then it is the cotton saris which are much better than the nylon saris, because they are not made up of chemicals. Because of natural fiber used in the cotton saris over here. So preferring cotton saris is a good way, it's a good habit, it's a good way of buying clothes, because it keeps your clothes, keeps your skin chemical free. But nylons and all are made up of nylon clothes are made up of certain chemicals. So you might be irritated to it, it might cause you a certain itch if you have a sensitive skin. So both of them have their pros and cons individually. It is good to buy cotton saris also, it is good to buy nylon saris also. It is not like you should stop buying cotton saris and only stick to buying nylon saris. Cotton saris are good in their own way. They have a good feel, they have a good touch, they are softer, they are good for the skin, they give you a certain level of comfort when compared to nylon. Okay, So yes, so next we are going to learn about rayon, which is the second kind of synthetic fiber we have come across in our lesson this time. So with rayon, basically people used to depend on silk for all their heavy functional saris and all, but the maintenance of silk will cost you a really high thing. It is going to cost you lots of money, because maintaining a silk cloth or silk wardrobe is really really difficult. Maintaining a silk sari is very very difficult. It requires a dry cleaning, and we need to be sure that it is not going to fade out color. It is not you cannot wash it with any other clothes. You need to wash it individually, so it was requiring a lot of maintenance. So people thought of building something called as artificial silk. So after trying for too many years in USA, around 1911, around 1911, that's the year, in USA, they invented something called as artificial silk. That was the first go of rayon. That was the first time something like rayon or artificial silk was invented and brought into the picture. In India, it was around 1946 in Kerala that it started, that people started using rayon or something. Rayon is also called as the artificial silk over here. Let's see, why is it called artificial silk? It gives you the feel of silk. It gives you the look of silk. How beautiful those silk clothes look. Rayon clothes also look similarly as that. Even the woven work, the designery work, everything looks similar. The only thing is the cloth is something different. Okay, so now we are going to talk about how was rayon made. Rayon is obtained from the cellulose, plant cellulose. For example, the wood pulp. Okay, now you must be thinking, if rayon is obtained from the wood pulp, why is it not called natural fibers? We will learn about this also, because it is not only the wood pulp that is going to come into the making of rayon. You also need various other chemicals to make rayon. Okay, like cotton, silk, and wool, they need only the plant and animal resources individually to make the respective fibers and fabric of cotton, silk, and wool. But for rayon, you need the wood pulp, but you also need some other chemicals also. So what I am telling you is that rayon is obtained from the cellulose. It is obtained from the plant cellulose. How do you get the wood pulp? You're going to cut down the timber of the tree, remove the bark, the fleshy part that you see inside. You're going to remove it by hair, or in a bunch, and then you're going to clean it after some time. And when you dry it, and you're going to mix it in with certain chemicals, that is how you obtain the wood pulp. Wood pulp is also used for making paper. Okay, it is also very prominently used in the paper industry. So coming back to making to rayon, we are going to consider the wood pulp. The wood pulp is going to get mixed up with certain chemicals. There are two chemicals that are required for making rayon. It is sodium hydroxide and carbon disulfide. So the wood pulp, which is taken from the plant cellulose, or which is taken from the trees, is going to get mixed up with the sodium hydroxide and carbon disulfide solution. Now this mixture is called as viscose. What is it called? It turns into a certain kind of syrup, and it is called as viscose. This viscose will be transferred into a spinneret. The same thing that we were studying yesterday. Okay, this viscose is going to be get transferred into a spinneret. As soon as you transfer the viscose into the spinneret, the once the spinneret starts working, it is going to release fine threads of rayon from the other end, and these threads will be washed and then dried with soap. Once they are going to get cleaned, you need to clean those threads with, so by applying certain amount of soap or detergent. And once you clean the threads, you're going to dry them, and after drying, the rayon threads will be again twisted, and they will be made into fine yarn balls, so that they can be sent to reeling centers, or the fabric can be further made. To sum it up, I'm telling you, rayon is made from the wood pulp. The wood pulp is going to get mixed up with two chemicals, like sodium hydroxide and carbon disulfide. This mixture is called as viscose, which looks like a syrup. This viscose will be transferred to the spinneret, and as the spinneret starts working, it is going to release rayon threads. These threads will be washed with soap to clean it, and then they are dried. The dried threads will further be made into rayon fiber or fabrics, or the rayon yarn balls. Okay, so here we have on page number 36 an orange color box. Okay, so basically I told you that rayon is made from the plant cellulose. The cellulose is nothing but that is obtained from the wood pulp. Okay, so now here I want to read this para for you, this orange color para that you see, because it is something really important and it sums up the entire explanation of how are you making rayon. So the cellulose that was collected from wood or bamboo pulp is treated with several chemicals. What were the chemicals we were discussing, class? It is sodium hydroxide and carbon disulfide. First, sodium hydroxide is added and then carbon disulfide is added to the cellulose. What is cellulose? Nothing but the wood pulp. Okay, the mixture. And how do you get that? You're going to remove the timber, remove the bark, and those fine hairy like structures will be removed and they will be dipped into water and chemicals. Okay, the cellulose dissolves in chemicals added to it and gives a syrup called viscose. You see viscose over here? Yes. Viscose is forced through a spinneret. You're going to force viscose through a spinneret. You're just going to like you force the sugarcane to the sugarcane machine. Just like that, you're going to force the viscose into the spinneret. Okay, so into a solution of dilute sulfuric acid. So yes, the spinneret is actually going to contain a solution called as dilute sulfuric acid. Okay, there is one more chemical that you need to remember over here. It is dilute sulfuric acid. This gives us silk-like threads. So the resultant thread that you're going to get is nothing but silk-like threads. Okay, the threads are cleaned with soap and dried. This new fiber is called as rayon. Okay, so what do you say now, is rayon natural or artificial? Of course artificial. You're using such three big chemicals over here. It is sodium hydroxide, carbon disulfide, and in the spinneret you're also using dilute sulfuric acid over here. Okay, some kinds of rayons are made from the short cotton fibers left on cotton seeds after ginning. So instead of taking the wood pulp, they might also use some cotton fibers which are left on the cotton seeds. Okay, they also consider some cotton fibers, make the viscose syrup and treat it with dilute sulfuric acid instead of using the wood pulp also. So there are two ways of making rayon. Either you do it with the help of the wood pulp, or either you do it with the help of the left out cotton fibers, which are usually left out when you are done with the ginning process of cotton. Okay, so here, so what were the three chemicals we studied over here? How do you make viscose? Viscose is made up of the wood pulp. It is made up of the wood pulp, the sodium hydroxide and carbon disulfide. The syrup or the solution is called as viscose, which is forced into the spinneret, and the spinneret you have a solution of dilute sulfuric acid, which is another chemical in this process. And then what do you get? Fine threads of rayon. Now we need to understand, where is rayon used? Is it only used in making clothes? It is also used in making bed sheets. Okay, rayon mixed up with cotton is used in making bed sheets over here. It is also used in the other home furnishings, like making the sofa covers or the dining table covers. Okay, now sanitary products and diapers. Okay, now because rayon is obtained from the plant cellulose, it has an advantage. It has a advantage. It has a feature, a characteristic feature, that it can absorb water. Do you understand? Rayon is obtained from the plant cellulose, so it has a feature of absorbing water. So that is why it is used in diapers. Okay, why do we why do we make our children wear diapers? Because so that the diapers can absorb the water content. Yes or no? When the excretion happens, when the urine happens, the diaper can actually absorb the water content. So that's one reason. So now you know that the diapers are made up of rayon. Why is rayon absorbing water? Because it is made or obtained from the plant cellulose. The plant cellulose has a feature of absorbing water. Because rayon is made up of plant cellulose like wood pulp, so it is also having a characteristic that it can absorb water. Does nylon have the feature of absorbing water? No. You cannot have nylon diapers. You cannot have nylon sanitary products. They are never going to absorb water. Do you understand? That is why the diapers that our children wear, that are made up, they are made up of rayon, because rayon has a feature or advantage of absorbing water. Now what else? There are many other things that we need to look about, why rayon is being used and all. Also, these bandages and all that you put when you get hurt or when you get wounded, so that there is no water entering the particular wound, you apply a band-aid on it. Okay, what is the job of the band-aid? To protect, to make it waterproof. Do you understand? To make the wound waterproof, if there is any water content left out in the wound also, the band-aid is going to absorb the excess amount of water. So come to page number 37. Okay, so we have the think and discuss portion over here. What characteristics make rayon better than natural silk? Cheaply available, yes or no? Made up of chemicals, abundantly available. You don't need high maintenance like silk. So these are the features that make rayon better than natural silk. If you want to purchase a doormat made of synthetic fiber, which synthetic fiber mat will you select? We can select rayon mats. Yes or no? Okay. So if sanitary, why do you select rayon mats? Because they absorb water quickly. Do you understand? If there is rainfall also happening, or if the floor is wet and you place the rayon mat over there, the rayon mat is going to absorb the water. Do you understand? And then you can move peacefully without the fear of slipping. If sanitary diapers and bandages are made of nylon, what will happen? They will not be able to absorb any amount of water. Do you understand? It is not going to make the wound waterproof anymore. Okay, any amount of water which is left out in the wound that needs to be absorbed by the bandage, that is not going to happen. Do you understand? And the bandage is not going to protect the wound from the water content. So it's better you use rayon. You cannot use diapers made up of nylon. Then there is no use of making the child wearing the diaper. Do you understand? The main reason that you're making the child wear a diaper is because the diaper absorbs the water content. Now if you use a nylon diaper instead of a rayon diaper, the nylon diaper is never going to absorb the water content and your child is always going to soak wet. Okay, so the next part that we need to study is what is blending. Fine. So you must be seeing that whenever you shop any new clothes, you see that there is a certain label written on it that says 50% cotton and 50% polyester, or 20% silk and 20% cotton and 30% some other fabric. They have mentioned how much percent of other fibers they have used to make this particular fabric. Do you understand? This might not be pure cotton. It must be blended with certain amount of polyester or acrylic or any other fiber. So why do people do that? Why do people combine fibers to make a proper fabric? Why do you think that why do you think that people are combining fibers to make a certain cloth or make a certain fabric? Now, all fibers have their own pros and cons. Okay, if I take one kind of fiber that has some pros and some cons, and I take another kind of fiber that equally has some pros and some cons, and if I blend them, then the second one might counteract the first one. For example, if I take cotton and polyester, okay, cotton is very good for the skin. It makes you feel ultra comfortable, and polyester, it has a very good has a very good durability. Okay, so if I'm going to blend cotton and polyester, so cotton usually it causes wrinkles and it needs ironing. But polyester is wrinkle free. When I blend them, I make a fabric which is 50% cotton and 50% polyester. So the resultant fabric is going to be very comfortable on my skin because it contains cotton, as well as it is going to be wrinkle free. It does not need much of ironing also. So do you understand? The main reason behind combining the fibers is so that the resultant fiber is going to have the positive aspects of all the fibers which were combined to make that resultant fiber. Did you understand? So if I buy a brand new fabric from from any of the malls over here, any of the shopping stores, and it is written over there 50% cotton and 50% polyester, what can I expect out of the fabric? I can expect that because there is cotton there in that, there is cotton used in that, it is going to be very good for my skin. If I am sensitive to chemicals, that particular fabric is not going to cause me any harm because it does not contain too much of chemicals. It contains cotton also, which is going to make me feel very good, make me feel very comfortable. Also, it contains polyester, so this means it does not need too much of ironing also. Now cotton has one more disadvantage. It shrinks when you wash it. Do you understand? Cotton clothes shrink when you wash it. But polyester does not have this disadvantage. Polyester is never going to shrink when you wash it. A blend of, or a mixture, or a combination of cotton and polyester fiber, the cotton polyester fabric is not going to shrink because it is not pure cotton. Do you understand? If it was a pure cotton fabric, it would have shrunk after any amount of washes. But now it contains not only cotton but also polyester, and polyester does not have the disadvantage of shrinking. It does not get shrunk after the washing. Do you understand? So that is why when I buy a fabric which is made up of two or three fibers, I get all the positive aspects of those respective fibers in my fabric. Do you understand? Now cotton has an advantage that it makes you feel comfortable. That advantage was there in my resultant fabric. Polyester has an advantage that you don't need too much of ironing, and it is not going to shrink. So my resultant new cloth that I bought from the market, where it is written 50% cotton and 50% polyester, it guarantees me that it is going to be comfortable, it is going to be chemical free, it is not going to harm my body or harm my skin, even though it is sensitive, and it is going to be wrinkle free, and it is not going to shrink also. All so many positive aspects in one cloth. How do you get this? How do you get so many positive aspects in one cloth over here? By the process of combining fibers. The process of combining fibers is called as blending. What is it called? It is called as blending. Blending is nothing but combining the synthetic fibers, so that the resultant fabric that you get contains all the positive aspects of the respective fibers. It is overcoming the limitation of the other fiber. Do you understand? Polyester here is acting like a hero and is overcoming the limitation of all the cotton fibers. Do you understand? And cotton is overcoming the limitation of polyester, that it contains certain chemicals. Cotton does not contain any chemicals, so cotton has no chance of irritating your skin. But polyester, if it was a pure polyester fabric and you are allergic to polyester, then you might get some allergic reaction or some itching because of the chemicals present in polyester. But the fabric that you bought is not pure polyester, it contains cotton also. So it is making the fabric perfect for you people to wear it, because the limitations have been overcome. The limitations have been overcome because of the process called as blending, where you're using two or three fibers. So from now, start searching for the label where it is written how much percent of what fiber is being used. Usually these days saris also, because people cannot afford pure silk saris, they prefer buying silk blend. Whenever they mention silk blend saris, this means a little amount of silk has been used to make that particular sari, for the shine, for the fascinating design. Along with silk, it also contains cotton or polyester or anything else like viscose, like rayon. Do you understand? So that any every other person can also buy a good looking sari, so that it comes under the budget, it comes in the budget, and you are able to afford it. That is one reason. And durability also, the limitations have been overcome. You don't need high maintenance for a silk blend sari, but you need to maintain it very well if you are buying a pure silk sari, and it is going to cost you above 5,000. But a silk blend sari or a cotton blend sari is going to be very very cheap. Do you understand? When compared to all those high maintenance saris. So yes, it was cotton and polyester fabric that we took as an example. You can read about further examples. That is what is mentioned in your textbook over here. Next, we are going to study about acrylic. Okay, that is the third kind of synthetic fiber that we are studying in this chapter, acrylic. So during the winters, to protect your body, what do you wear? Woolen clothes. Do you think all those woolen clothes that you are wearing are actually made up of the real wool obtained from the sheep? Just imagine, India has a population of around 300 crores. So, if every person wants to buy one or two woolen sweaters, of course, every person will not be adjusting with just one woolen sweater. A normal middle class person might be wanting at least two woolen sweaters for the winter season on an average. Then imagine how many amount of sheep breeding do we need to do, how much import export do we need to do, how much wool do we need from the sheep. It is like a huge level. So, to overcome such a limitation, what people started in using was acrylic. Acrylic is nothing but fake fur. Okay, it is fake wool. It has a name. It is just like woolen cloth. It is just like woolen fiber, but it is not pure wool. Do you understand? It has a name called as fake fur or fake wool. Also, I've written it over here. I'll write it over here also. Acrylic is called as fake fur, like artificial wool. So it has replaced the woolen industry. It has not completely vanished the woolen industry, because there are people who still prefer using the pure woolen clothes. Of course, in very chilly and very, extremely cold conditions, you actually need something like that. But the shawls and the sweaters that you and I are using are basically made up of acrylic. Also, the uniforms and all that we wear contain a certain amount of acrylic as well as polyester, and also a little bit of cotton. So now, what is acrylic also called as? It is called as fake fur. There are two ways of making acrylic fiber. It is dry spinning and wet spinning. So what happens in the dry spinning method is, you are going to take the solution. You are going to take the solution, and it has a property of getting evaporated very soon. Do you understand? The polymers. So basically, acrylic is also made up of certain polymers which are mixed up with a certain amount of solution. But the solution has a property that, it can get evaporated very quickly. So what am I going to do in the dry spinning method of making acrylic is that you're going to take polymers. So all of us know that polymers are used to make the synthetic fibers. Acrylic is a synthetic fiber again. You are going to take a certain kind of polymers and mix them with a certain chemical solution. This chemical solution of the polymers is going to be inserted or forced into a spinneret. Okay, once this is forced into a spinneret, okay, it is going to release certain amount of fine threads. Now you must be thinking that these threads are going to be wet. So what is going to be done for that? This particular device is going to contain a certain amount of nozzle where the warm air will be introduced into the entire device over here. Okay, I'll repeat it. Try to understand. What is the name of the fiber that we are discussing? It is acrylic. What is another name for acrylic? It is fake fur. So what is acrylic actually replacing? It is replacing wool. It keeps you warm. Where is it being used? It is used in all woolen clothes like scarves, mufflers, socks, and shawls and sweaters. So what are the two methods of making acrylic? It is dry spinning and wet spinning. In the dry spinning method, you are going to mix the polymer with the chemical solution, and that chemical solution should have a property of getting evaporated. Do you understand what is evaporation? Evaporation is water converting into water vapor, or any liquid converting into its vaporized form in the presence of heat. Do you understand? So now the polymer which was mixed up with the chemical solutions, it is a syrup, it is a solution over here, is going to be forced into the spinneret, and you're going to get threads, fine threads of acrylic over here. Now these threads are going to be wet. So what are we going to do? We are going to introduce a certain amount of warm air into this. Do you understand? We are going to put a jet nozzle over here that introduces certain amount of warm air. Okay, now because of the warm air, the solution which is still stuck to the fibers and is making it wet will get evaporated. Did you understand? So because of this, the fiber which you are getting from the spinneret, the resultant fiber that you're getting from the spinneret is not going to be wet anymore. Do you understand? It is not going to be wet anymore because we have introduced some warm air through the jet nozzle. What is the job of the warm air over here? The warm air is going to dry up the fine threads. Okay, now these dry threads will be collected further after the warm air has been subjected to it. So this is called as dry spinning. What do you think is going to be wet spinning? In wet spinning method, the same polymers as well as some extra amount of chemical solutions are to be taken. So the entire mixture that you are going to insert into the spinneret is going to be very wet. Do you understand? And that chemical solution also does not have the property of getting evaporated quick. So what is going to happen over here? So once you are going to enter the wet solution into the spinneret, it is going to release a certain amount of threads. These threads will be taken into a tub. Do you understand? And further, these threads will be removed and dried. Do you understand? And it is a very complex process. Okay, so this is the dry spinning and this is the wet spinning. Why did I introduce warm air over here? Because the chemical solution here had a property that it would get evaporated quick in the presence of warm air. But in the wet spinning process, which was the most oldest form and the most complicated form, it does the solution that we are using over here does not have the property of getting evaporated with the help of warm air. So you need to remove the fibers from the tub. It is like you're draining them. Do you understand? So once the fibers are collected in a tub, they are going to, left out there for certain amount of draining, and they are going to be passed over certain pulleys, so that, once they are passing over certain pulleys, they are, getting dried. Do you understand? It is one way of drying it. Do you understand what is tumble dry? In your front load washing machine, you must be seeing during the spinning that they are tumble drying. Spinning the cloth helps in drying very quickly. Do you understand? There must be an option of spinning over there. Of course, in every washing machine there is an option of spinning. What does spinning do? It is going to rotate the cloth at a certain point. Do you understand? The same thing is going to happen over here. Because we have inserted a wet chemical solution into the spinneret, and we are getting wet fibers over here, we are allowing it to drain and drip in a bathtub like substance over here, or a tub like device. After the draining is done, you're passing it through certain wheels. Why are you passing it through certain wheels? Because the spinning can happen, and with the help of the spinning, the fiber can dry further. Do you understand? After a certain amount of time, after a certain span of time, after it has passed through all the wheels and pulleys over here, you are going to get the fiber which is completely dried. Now that will also, if it is still not dried and still contains some traces of dirt or something, it needs to be washed with soap, so that the dirt particles are removed, and only then you are going to get the pure acrylic fur. Okay, so now this was how you are going to make fake fur or acrylic. Further, we have something like, as we were talking about the labels present on clothes, and it is written what kind of or how much amount of fibers are used to make that particular fabric. You also have a label where it is mentioned whether you should hand wash it, whether you should, separately wash it, whether you should give it for tumble dry or dry cleaning, or wash it below 40 degrees Celsius and all. So there is a question that might be arising in all of our minds, that should we use only synthetic fibers? Is it the only way of surviving if we need clothes? Of course not. There are natural fibers also. If you judicially use clothes and, keep recycling them, of course there is a way out always. But, one big disadvantage of using synthetic fiber is that it catches fire very easily. Okay, it is going to catch fire very easily, and once, if you are wearing it and you are cooking in the kitchen and your dress has caught fire, the synthetic fiber is going to melt and get attached to your skin, which is going to be a worse condition. So do you understand? And there are certain ways of washing these clothes also, both natural and artificial fibers, which we will see further. So class, we have some laundry label codes on page number 39, and explaining two of them. I hope you try to find out what are the other two meant, what are the other two meaning. What is the meaning of the other two labels? I basically mean that. So I will explain you these two labels, and you need to find out the meaning of the other two labels. So here, first of all, you can see the blend over here. Okay, there are two fabrics which are being used. It is 50% cotton and 50% acrylic. So this means the fabric is a blend of both cotton and acrylic over here. This signifies that you can wash the fabric at or below 40 degrees Celsius. Do you understand? You can wash the fabric at or below 40 degrees Celsius, and it can be a machine wash. This line over there tells us that it can be a machine wash. Now we have this triangle over here which says you cannot bleach it. Do you understand? The triangle there says you cannot bleach it. The iron here says that you can use an iron for ironing the fabric. This over here shows that you cannot tumble dry it. Okay, you cannot tumble dry it. And this circle which is cancelled over here says that you cannot dry clean it. No dry cleaning. This means no dry cleaning. This means no tumble dry. Okay, this means ironing. You can iron. This means no bleaching. Okay, and this means you can, wash it or dip it at a temperature of 40 or 40 degrees, below 40 degrees Celsius. Okay, that is all. It's too much to write over there. Next one, you have 98% cotton and 2% elastin lyra. So this is a blend of cotton and lyra. So basically it might be the leggings. Okay, also, there are some ready-made clothes that you get which are made up of lyra. It is a very stretchable fabric. So now there is a tumble over here. There is a bucket which says 50 degrees Celsius. This means you can dip the cloth at or below 50 degrees Celsius of temperature. The water inside the bucket should be at or below 50 degrees Celsius. Okay, you cannot bleach it. You can iron it, but you need to be very careful while you can press iron it. Here the single dot says that you need to be careful while ironing it, and the P here signifies that you cannot use any further chemicals. There are chemicals like trihexylamethylene and all to retain the color of the clothes and all. You cannot use such external chemicals. That P signifies that, and this is you can tumble dry it. Do you understand? This here shows that you can tumble dry it. Now the further ones that you see over here, okay, the three dot here maybe specifies that you need to press iron it, okay, because cotton needs lots of ironing. Do you understand? But you need to be very careful while ironing the cotton cloth. Also, you have further labels over here. Okay, look at 100% polyester if you have your textbooks open. I just give you a rough idea about it. You can definitely write. You have 40 degrees Celsius and you need to wash it, and it is a very delicate wash. You can see the underlined lines with the lines which are underlined under the bucket very dark over there. It means you need to be very careful while washing it. It is a delicate machine wash. Then the triangle is again cancelled, which means it should not bleach it. And then you have the iron, which says you can definitely iron it at a normal temperature. Low temperature iron. This needs a high temperature iron. That is what I remember it now. So now you have the circle which is cancelled out. This means there is no need of dry cleaning. You have the tumble dry. Of course, you can tumble dry it. The fourth one, there is a hand being shown inside the bucket. This means you can hand wash it. Okay. And which kind of cloth is this? It is 100% nylon outer, 100% polyester liner. This is completely a synthetic fiber. Doesn't need any extra maintenance or washing. You can hand wash it, but you cannot bleach it. It can be pressed or ironed at low temperature. You don't need to give it for dry cleaning also. You can also tumble dry it. The fourth one, do you understand? I just explained the fourth one. You can hand wash it, the 100% nylon one class. You can hand wash it. You cannot bleach it. You can iron it at a normal temperature, and you don't need to give it for dry cleaning, and you can also tumble dry it. So that is for all, but I would like you to find out and write down about all these four laundry codes. In your book over here, you can stick a paper or stick a sticky note and write down the meaning of these laundry codes. I've explained you few, and also I've explained you the ones which you were actually going to do for homework. But instead of that, I would like you to stick a sticky note on your book over here and explain and write about what do you understand by these labels. The first one, second one, third one, and fourth one. Whatever you understood from these labels, you need to understand. Write about it. At least a little part of it is very understandable. You cannot dry clean it. You cannot tumble dry. It is made up of 50% cotton and 50% acrylic. You can iron it at low temperature. No bleaching. Wash it at or below 40 degrees Celsius. Further, wash it at or below 50 degrees Celsius. No bleaching at a moderate temperature or a higher temperature, because it is cotton. Cotton needs a lot of grease. Do you understand? So you need to iron it quite well. So this is P over here, which means you cannot use any external chemicals like trihexylamethylene and all. So here you have the tumble, which says, of course, you can tumble dry it. Okay, I'll write it here for you. Tumble dry. So here, the Sakshi for today. You can note down the Sakshi, which is we completed from page number 36 to 39 today. So please write down Sakshi. Classwork, page 36 to 39. Homework, read the lesson. Especially, I want you to write about the laundry codes that you have understood. At the end of the video, I will place a laundry picture if possible, or else at the end of the last video, when we complete the entire lesson, we will summarize what are the different other kinds of laundry codes. For now, try to understand these, which are given in the textbook, because these are usually asked in the exam papers also. You want to increase your knowledge and Google about further things also, it is always welcomed. But I would try placing it one picture of at the end of the video, at the last video. Okay, so for now, thank you.